Y'all, let me go live. What is popping, y'all? Dada. Dondo Show. Tap in with me. Tap in with me. Let me know how you feel today. We got a lot to talk about this week. We got a lot of good games coming up. Man, I'm here to tell you. It's going to be a really, really good week of football this week. Dondo Show. Tap in with me. Let me know how you feel. I need to see you in the comments. I need to see y'all in the comments. Yes, sir. Dondo Show. Everything is lovely. Everything is lovely. Oh yes. Let before we get to the main subject, let's look at some games this week in college football. We'll start in college football and look at some games this week. Uh, let's go to Jacksonville State's playing tonight. I did not know that. Florida International and New Mexico State is also playing tonight. I did not know that. Did not know that. Sam Houston tomorrow against Liberty at Liberty. I think Liberty's undefeated. Yeah, I think Liberty's undefeated. Um, Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech. Interesting. Then Friday night we got Kansas State at Oklahoma State. Uh-oh. Is Stillwater gonna be turned up? They still got the tumbleweed and Stillwater. Uh-oh. Kansas State looking to get back ranked. Oklahoma State, that's a good Friday night of football, but I think I will be attending the Blanchard Tuttle game on Friday. Tap in with me. Tap all the way in. Hit that subscribe button. You on YouTube. Hit that follow button on Facebook. We about to go right in. Nebraska at Illinois on Friday. Should be very interesting. Two teams that are trying to salvage their season. Trying to get a bowl appearance. Both fighting. Illinois has got a pretty good defense. Nebraska got a pretty good defense. That should be an interesting game. Um, then of course, we'll get to that one later. But we got LSU at Missouri. Two teams that feel like they're still in the hunt. Well, Missouri's undefeated, but LSU still feels like they're in the hunt for the SEC. They got some big games coming up. You gotta come play. You got to come to play at Missouri. A tough one. I even like Maryland at Ohio State. I mean, I think Maryland can give them some problems. I don't think they can beat Ohio State, but I think they can bloody them up a little bit. Yeah, very interesting game at breakfast time. Um, Rutgers at Wisconsin. Another good game. Another really, really good game that's under the radar because neither team is ranked right now. Marshall at NC State. I would put NC State on upset alert. I don't even know if you could call that an upset playing Marshall. You got Washington State at UCLA. Gonna be a good one. Very good one. Bama at Texas A&M. We remember what happened the last time Bama went to Texas A&M. Texas A&M's 4-1, folks. They ain't lost since they played Miami. They've actually looked pretty good since they played Miami. I think Miami's a whole lot better than y'all want to give credit for, especially if A&M wins this weekend. I slight edge to Bama. I think if they get their offense situation rolling, their defense is tough. Their defense is tough. Virginia Tech and Florida State gonna blow them out. Hate to say it, but that's what happens when you fuck around with the church's money. It happens to you sometime. Tap in with me though. We got Kansas at UCF. Kansas at UCF should be very interesting. Should be very UCF just lost a heartbreaker to Baylor. Baylor came all the way back and beat them and salvaged their season. Tulsa and Florida Atlantic should be good. I wonder if Casey is playing this weekend. Casey Thompson. That's a good question. Colorado at Arizona State at 5:30. The Pac-12 channel is finally gonna get some love from Colorado. Should be very interesting. We got Michigan at Minnesota. Hey, now I'm gonna tell you, Michigan go down. They go down there bullshitting. They go down there bullshitting. Minnesota can play. They can play. Notre Dame plays another ranked opponent. I want to give something. I wrote something down earlier in the week about Notre Dame, and I want to put this on my show about Notre Dame. Uh, Marcus Freeman is 11-2 in his last 13 games at Notre Dame. He's 11-2. In that span, he's beaten 4 top 25 teams, and he plays another one this week. So his losses were to a 10-1 USC, Caleb Williams, and then the loss last week to a couple weeks ago to Ohio State on the last play of the game. I said Brian Kelly went to LSU because it was easier to win at LSU. Brian Kelly's last 4 games, he's 4-4. They said it was easier to recruit at LSU. Notre Dame had a better class, has a better class right now coming in. We'll see how that ends up. But there are myths out there that just don't exist. I'm really proud of him the way, because they didn't think he was ready. And they always think that of black coaches. I'm glad that he's taking the reins at Notre Dame and doing his thing. Man, it's wonderful. I like to see Notre Dame do their thing, except when they play my team. Miami, let's not get to Miami yet. Let's get to Ole Miss and Arkansas. Very interesting game. Luke, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and I don't want nobody to get mad at me, but the kid from Bixby that's playing tight end for Arkansas, I think he's a true freshman. That kid is phenomenal. That kid is phenomenal. I can't believe we let him get out of the state. I can't believe y'all let him get out of the state, to Arkansas. Big time tight end. We got Georgia Tech and Miami, the nightcap ACC network getting some love. They feel like this is going to be a good game. Georgia Tech has surprised some people this year. Miami better not look ahead to next week. You got Iowa State at TCU. TCU should handle them, but going to our Ames is always tough. Oregon State, California. Oregon State bounced back last week and beat Utah. I mean, the Pac-12 is. I can't believe they're dissolving the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 is as strong as I've ever remembered it. And of course, USC at Arizona will be a late game. People will have to stay up late to see Caleb Williams. They should annihilate him. Let's go back to the Breakfast Club. The University of Texas right now has the best brand in college football. And I'm going to tell you why. 2 years ago, y'all laughed at Sarkisian. Sarkisian was just getting his players in there. Like, he had to reinvent what Texas football was going to be about. He said it. I've got to get some linemen. So that first class, he brought in what some considered on paper the best offensive line ever in a recruiting class. But at the same time, he was planning on getting the Manning kid. So you bring in the linemen and a few skill guys before the year before. Then you bring in Manning. But it's a kid, I think his name is Ford, a freshman kid. He's on the defense, man. This kid is he was ranked just as high as the Manning kid. This kid's name, man. Uh, no, Ford is the kid that was the Big 12 Player of the Year preseason voted. This kid is Anthony Hill, 5-star recruit, all over the field, all over the field. He's the type of kid that y'all say these coaches are defense gurus. He's the type of kid you gotta have on your defense. Really like the kid a whole lot. So I think Xavier Worthy is the guy that makes their offense run because he is a speedster. He blows the top off of defense. Alabama was so worried about him getting over the top, all them underneath routes. That's when you get starting to get the underneath routes and the combo routes that Texas likes to run, and mixed in with sprinkled in with the running game. Now you got to prepare sets and combos, that they gonna run out there. I wouldn't want to try to prepare for Texas right now. They made Saban look foolish. They made him look foolish. They made his defense as good as his defense is and the players he has on defense, they wasn't even lining up right sometimes. Formation was dictating just the formation. In that you go back and look at that game, formation was killing Alabama because they kept having the wrong personnel out there. They had to use some timeouts. They was getting frustrated. They secondary was just like they was at a track meet, tongue hanging out their mouth like a dog that need water. You know, Texas prepared well. I think this weekend, I think it's just a formality. I think Texas wins this game by 3 touchdowns, at least 3 touchdowns. And that's not to say the team they're playing is not a good team. Them in the trick bag to follow them in SEC because Texas A&M was getting all the recruits in Texas. All they was doing was going in these kids' houses and saying, "You want to play in the SEC?" That's how they was out recruiting Texas in the state of Texas. Now you can't say that, and Texas looks like the better brand now, so they don't have to compete with A&M no more. They're both going to be in the boat. They look really good going into next year. They're not losing a whole lot unless guys decide to go to the NFL. I don't see a lot of guys. They have a lot of youth. Their young players are really, really good, and they've got a hell of a recruiting class coming next year. Steve Sarkisian is that guy. I would put him, if you put Lincoln Riley as the top offensive mind in college football, I would put Steve Sarkisian right across from me, 1A, 1B. I think he can do more. Like, Steve Sarkisian doesn't and we'll like he don't need all that. He gonna dissect you by personnel and sets. And his play calling is, I mean, he makes some of the best adjustments at halftime. After halftime, you go watch some of them games, they look like a whole totally different team. Second half. He's really got them rolling. They are the number one team in the country to me. Somebody beats Texas, they are the number one team in the country to me. I'm going to tell you who they beat. They went to Bama, beat Bama. Baylor was supposed to be good. They beat Baylor pretty handily. Wyoming was kind of 31-10. Wyoming's better. Wyoming I think they beat Texas Tech first game. Something like that, yeah. Wyoming. And then they turn around and pretty much thumped Kansas. They thumped a top 25 team. They paid three ranked. This will be their third ranked team in 6 games. And I don't see nobody else on the schedule that can give them. Kansas State might can give them problems, but that game is in Austin. At TCU, that might be a tough one. I think I think Texas is a lock to go to the college football playoff. I really do. Tap in with me. Y'all keep texting me, man. Y'all gotta tap in with me. Tap in with me. Tap in with me. Texas is the number one team in the country. Oh yeah. Robert say fight on. Shouts out to my dude you at USC. How did USC drop to number 9 and they haven't lost a game? I really think it's only a few teams that could probably beat USC because they gonna make it a shootout if they got to. So you're gonna have a little bit better defense than them. I think their defense is opportunistic. I don't think they're as bad as people say. Um, their offense scores pretty fast. So sometimes your defense gets tired. You know, your defense does get tired. Thanks, Shelby, man, for tuning in, man. For real. I had a lot of fun on the Dodge Cast. Make sure y'all are supporting the Dodge Cast, man. My dude Jared and that guy, man. I had a really good time on the Dodge Cast, man. Everybody showing love to it, saying they liked the episode, man. I really like to do it another time down the line, man. We didn't even really get deep, and we was 2 hours. We really didn't get to a lot of this stuff. We talked about. But shouts out to the Dodge Cast. Shouts out to Dylan Show. I always forget the name of Dylan Show and his his cousin or his nephew show. Look, Kyle and them. Tap in with me. But yeah, I want to shout out to anybody that's trying to have a voice and trying to do some things. It's wonderful, man. Wonderful. Texas, number one team in the country. They should be number one team. Georgia hasn't showed me enough. And last week they struggled with Auburn. A lot of people's gonna struggle with Auburn, but I thought Georgia kind of struggled a little bit with South Carolina. I mean, Georgia just doesn't look like Georgia from last year. And maybe they turn it up when they have to play somebody. I had to look at their schedule and see what they got going. I'm gonna look at Georgia's schedule while we're live, and I want to see what they got going on. Uh, Next week at Kentucky. Oh no, this week at Kentucky. No, this week they got to Kentucky at home, and they go at Vanderbilt versus Florida. And the world's largest, what do they call that? The world's largest, I can't think of what they call that damn game. That's usually played in Atlanta, I think. Then they got Missouri. They finish out the season with Missouri, Ole Miss, and at Tennessee. Hmm. No Bama on the schedule. I agree, Robert. I agree. I'm gonna get you on the show soon, man. Real soon, because you know a lot about football. You don't just like your team; you watch other teams too. I can respect that about a sports fan. You can be a fan of your team, but you still like other. You still watch other teams and can analyze other teams. I like that, Rob. I'm gonna have you on the show soon. Probably next week. We'll have to hook it up. But yeah, you are right, Georgia. Georgia, yeah, they haven't dropped a bit, and I don't see how USC dropped 2 weeks in a row because their offense they can score 50 on a bad night. They can turn up. They can step off. They can take their foot off the gas pedal at any time. They do it all the time. Because they feel like our biggest win is getting out of the game healthy. We gonna match up with anybody. That's how US. When is that USC Notre Dame game? Notre Dame has a hell of a schedule. My God, I would not want to be Notre Dame. Notre Dame goes at Louisville, then USC at home. Now Notre Dame, and they still go at Clemson, at Louisville versus USC. Pitt comes to, and then you're at Clemson. Them 4 games right there, Notre Dame could easily go 2-2, 1-3, easily in them 4 games. That's a tough little schedule. Let's go look at USC's schedule and see. Um, let's see USC's schedule. They got Arizona, Notre Dame, Utah at home. They at Notre Dame. They got Cal. They got Washington. Damn boy, woo USC. You got Washington at home, at Oregon, then UCLA at home. That's a tough schedule. That is not a creamy cup schedule USC got right there. Notre Dame, they should, but I don't know. I want to see what's going to happen with the rest of the. I hate that the Pac-12 is breaking up. I always liked Pac-12 football. I think before everybody got into this running gun type offenses and stuff, I always thought the Pac-12 was one of the most offensively conferences it was. Big 12 stepped up the last few years, to being, but I always thought the Pac-12 had a little bit better defenses. I could be wrong, but I like, some of the Pac-12 offenses, they translate to the NFL because a lot of that post offense, mixed in with a little spread. They produce a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. Like some of them guys, they might not be superstars or whatever, but them guys are going to the NFL to be quarterbacks. The skilled guys are going there. They might not have as many defensive linemen. They do have offensive linemen that make it to the NFL. I always thought the Pac-12 had a really, really good brand. I really did. I'm kind of sad about that because I remember, me and Trey talk about Marshall Falk when he came up, and then Reggie Bush. The conference has had some great players. Even before I was old enough, the Marcus Allens and The guy, USC. I just don't see USC. Why? To me, the Big Ten doesn't fit what USC does. Like the Big Ten is it's top heavy in the conference, but like they don't. Besides Ohio State, none of them really play exciting. But like you don't want to. Who says I want to go watch a Michigan game? Who says that? And I love Jim Harbaugh. He coached for the 40. I love Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh is an excellent coach, but he plays a boring brand of football. Like it's hard to watch that shit sometimes. No shit. It's hard to watch it. Um the Michigans, the Penn State. I mean, Penn State is hard to watch. Oh my God, man. I remember one, it was like 10-7. I'm like, man, this shit just, man, it gave me a headache watching that shit, man. I had to turn the TV, man. Real shit. And then you play teams like Rutgers and I don't know, man. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. I just don't see where it translated for them to break up the Pac-12. The Pac-12 should have just renegotiated a TV deal and kept everybody happy. Like you got good brands, make it happen. Like I don't know, man. I'm gonna miss the Pac-12. But back to the subject, Texas is the number one team in the country to me. They proved it on the field. If they win this week, I think they run the table. I think they run the table if they win this week. Worthy is when you get on the field with him, you gotta put two guys. You gotta have sometimes three, and he might outrun all three of them. And it ain't. They're not trying to. They gonna get him the ball, but they're opening up their offense. They want you to double him, or you gonna have to pick. You gonna let him whoop, or get over the top of the defense and hope Quinn Evers is not accurate, or you gonna allocate these guys to try to handle him in the passing game, and all these underneath. Here comes all these underneath routes. I mean, it's a lot to deal with it. Yeah, it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with. Mm. I really think Texas is the best. A lot of people disagree, but to me, what they've shown on the field, you just don't go to Bama and beat Bama. How many home games has Nick Saban lost? They always talk about the Johnny Manziel loss, and that was so long ago. Bama don't lose in Tuscaloosa. They don't. Texas went down there, and what's crazy is the year before Texas gave Bama all they wanted. When Sark was at Bama, he was in practices learning how to beat Bama, learning how to game plan and run. The best thing a coach could do before they become a head coach, because Sark's been a head coach and he had his problems with drinking and whatever. But the best thing you can do as a coach is go be assistant for Bama, go be assistant for Georgia, and see how stuff runs in the SEC, and take what you got and what you see works, and then apply it to the team that you coaching. That's the best way. That's the best way. Everybody was so high. Oregon beating Colorado, but Oregon was nice before Lennon got there. He had a bad year when he got there. Y'all was trying to run Lennon up out of there. He got embarrassed the first game of the year playing Georgia. He got embarrassed last year, and y'all was so highly a whole Dion and shit. And all that. I seen all the shit y'all was putting about Oregon, but Oregon was. Oregon was a Pac-12 championship champion team before Lanning got there. They was already loaded with talent. Mario Cristobal had them loaded with talent. They did not want him to leave. So, shouts out to Dion though. Like that second half, they came back and made some plays. It's gonna be crazy. What if he stays at Colorado? It's gonna be crazy to think two, three, two, maybe three top 15, top 10 recruiting classes go to Colorado. Hey, hey, because Dion knows players, and players is gonna want to play for Dion and show out for Dion. So, hey, don't kick Colorado too hard, because I think I think Dion's gonna handle his business. But yeah, man, we're gonna do this. We're gonna start doing the Dono Show on Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays gonna help lead into the week. Uh, Sundays are going. We're gonna have the cat. We're gonna have the recap on the games. Um, Everything. We were changing up the format. There's a lot of stuff going on. But I just had to say, I was thinking about it today, and I talked to a few guys today, and I just told them, I said, Texas is the best football team I've seen this year. They're the best football team on the field, not on paper, not what you think they can do, but in game situations, Texas is the best football team in the country, bar none. Right now, today, they're the number one team in the country. After they win big this weekend by 3 touchdowns, they'll still be the voters will vote them number one. I ain't gonna have to tell you they number one because the voters are gonna vote them number one. If they win it, when they win this weekend by 3 touchdowns, I'm calling it right now. Texas by 3 touchdowns. It'll look good for a little bit, and then it's gonna get real, real ugly. It's gonna get real ugly fast, like that girl you met at the club, and then you took her home and you smashed on her, and you wake up the next morning, and that bitch is real. That is what's gonna happen. Indeed, so Texas is the number one team in the country. Um, I'm gonna give a few shout outs. Few shout outs this week. Shout out to Chickasha High School. My dog Derek. Y'all got a big one against Woodward. It's homecoming this week. Hope to get that victory. Um, shouts out to um, Blanchard and Terrence. They're playing total this week. That's a big game. Shouts out to my Anadarko boys. I think they could pay Perkins Tryon. I heard Perkins Tryon's pretty good. Anadarko keeps getting better and better each week. It might not seem like it to you, but it's a rebuild. So that's what happens. I see them kids getting better. Zane last night, oh my God. He's, you know. But I thought Sherrod's son Aiden played really, really well. I was really impressed on how he is as a quarterback. They're two different kind of quarterbacks, but they are both playmakers. It was a great game. You missed a great junior high game last night. That was a really, really good junior high game. I haven't seen a good junior high game that good in a while. It was really good. I would just save my money. I wouldn't go to Texas this weekend. If you're gonna come back, you're gonna be mad. You're gonna go to Texas, you're gonna leave your girl in town. Little homie's gonna run a train on him. You're gonna be down in Texas watching your team lose. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Texas is the number one team in the country. Sark is the second best offensive. Well, I would say it's a tie as far as Lincoln makes it just look so sexy. Them plays he be running, that shit just be looking so pretty. You know, Sark, you gotta sit there, the combo routes and stuff. You gotta go back and watch the wide, not the view they show you on TV, but you gotta the end zone view to see the route structure with with Sark and see some of the combinations and some of the you know personnel, the guys he got. He's got guys just running just beautiful route structures in his offense. That's the pretty. You got to really break down his playbook. You know, um, I think they're both great games. I would take either one. I really can't pick one or the other. I think they're both excellent. I think Sark puts up 56 points. I had this week. I think they score 8 touchdowns this weekend. I really do. I can't nothing change my mind. I think they scored 8 touchdowns this weekend. I think it's back to the drawing board for teams. I think everything that's built up was a mirage. Because Texas, y'all ain't really beat Texas in the last 2 years. It took the greatest comeback of all time to beat them Sark's first year. Then last year they embarrassed you. They flat out embarrassed you and ran you off the field. And this year they look better than last year. They're not going through the motions. They ain't ducking and dodging nobody. They out here whooping niggas. And you next on the list. I mean, fight back. I think by halftime we're gonna be able to see it's time to turn to a different channel. You're gonna wake up, you're gonna eat breakfast, and you're gonna want to turn it to a different channel at halftime. You're gonna be pissed off. I'm just getting ready for your emotions that's gonna go through. You're gonna be pissed off. It's gonna be, we gotta get rid of him, we gotta get rid of this, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Man, you done did the shit. You done did the shit. You done did the shit, bro. You done did the shit already. Like, you know, you done did the shit already, man. So shouts out. I'm just calling. I could say Miami's the number one team, but y'all would say I'm biased. I'm telling you right now, on the field, Texas has proven to be the number one team in the country right now. They beat three ranked teams. They about to play their fourth ranked team. They went to Bama. They whooped Bama. Whooped them. Now, it wasn't no barely. They whooped Bama and showed out on their field and trolled them and taunted them and everything. Bama didn't fight back. I think y'all gonna fight back a little bit. It's a rivalry. Y'all gonna fight back, but when the nigga get this, when them hands get to coming too quick, them hands, see, everybody got a plan. TR always say everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. When them hands get to coming, you gonna be like, why we lining up in this? What is we doing? Like, why we got this nigga in the game? Like, that's the kind of shit you gonna be saying. I'm telling you what's gonna happen before it happens. Y'all, we got a sorry man. We sorry. That's what you gonna be saying, bro. And it ain't that you sorry. It's just you playing. You gonna be playing a better team. Texas might run the SEC when they get there. I don't doubt that. They might run the SEC when they get there, bro. They already done beat Bama at Bama. Who done went into Tuscaloosa and whooped Bama? Don't worry, I'll wait. Tell me who's done it. Then y'all said last week, oh, Kansas is undefeated. Texas whooped them. No, I just got to go by the numbers. They played the most ranked teams. They beat the most ranked teams. They went on the road. They beat the SEC team. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not a Texas fan, but I'm just telling you what it is. They didn't. If they win this weekend, they will. It ain't no question about it. They gonna be the number one team in the country. They gonna go over. They had votes this past week. They gonna they gonna put them above Georgia. Georgia hasn't played nobody. Who have they played to beat them? They just giving them that ranking from last year, but they lost a lot of guys. Texas is the number one team. I've had a good night. You know, we talked quite a bit. Um, I hope y'all have a good week. You know, we start football tomorrow. Um, try to get out and watch some of these high schools. Go support the high schools. If you're going down to Dallas this weekend, be careful. Make sure you make it home. You know, um, NFL games. We got this. Let's get to the NFL game. Let's get to the NFL. We haven't talked about the NFL yet. Let's get to the NFL game. We're gonna pull up some of them. We're gonna look at because we got the big boy game, and we're gonna have a lot of special guests for that night at the big boy game. Tomorrow night we got the 0-4 Bears at the 2-2 Commanders. I don't know what to think of this game. I don't really don't know. They saying that the Bears lose, their coach is fired. They're gonna tank. Then Sunday is the Jaguars in. Is that overseas again? Jaguars playing overseas again at the Bills at 8:30 in the morning. What the fuck? Uh, the Texans and the Falcons. Lions got the Panthers. Can the Panthers get a victory this week? 2-2 Titans and 2-2 Colts. That's for the best team in the division, I think. Dolphins trying to bounce back against the Giants. Man, it ain't really nothing to sneeze at this week, except for the 49ers against them Cowgirls. How about them Cowgirls? They got a win last week. They up to 3-1. They got their hopes up. They could very well go in the Candlestick and Levi Stadium and win. They could. I wouldn't doubt that they couldn't, but I just don't think they're that caliber yet. I don't think on offense. I think they're still trying to figure out themselves. That CeeDee Lamb is great, but they don't have nothing to go with him. CeeDee Lamb is a nice steak that you get at a restaurant, but then they don't give you no sides with it. You gotta have the sides with the steak. Like CeeDee Lamb is that steak, but the sides, you ain't got no sides. Don't nobody want a meal with no sides. Um, you know, the Jets at the Broncos, the 1-3 bowl. Oh my lord. There's so many teams wanting the Bengals at the Cardinals. Everybody's just 1-3. The Patriots is 1-3. Oh my God. The Chiefs at the Vikings. The Vikings is looking for a win. Oh my God. Oh my God. Packers, Monday night Packers at the Raiders. Huh. I really don't want to watch no NFL football this week except for my 49ers. Don't nobody look promising. Oh, well, the Eagles at the Rams, that could get interesting. I'd take the Rams in that game. I'd take the Rams over the Eagles in that game. Very interesting. Shouts out to everybody that's supporting. Get with me about sponsorships, stuff like that. We're only gonna keep getting bigger, man. I'm dedicated to these times. I know a lot of people have been like be bullshitting. You don't do it. I'll be checking for you. You ain't did it. Whatever. Wednesdays and Sundays, and we're gonna set a time too soon. A specific time for you to tune in to the Dondo Show live. We got a lot more stuff. We're gonna start showing shoes. We're gonna talk about fashion. We're gonna talk about the rap shit. We ain't gonna just do the sports. We're just doing the sports route because it's football season and I love to talk football. But we are going to do some other things with the Dondo Show. We're gonna get back to the original Dondo Show format and do shit that way. Y'all have a good weekend, good weekend. I'll see y'all Sunday night. We're gonna be live. We're gonna be live during the game. You're gonna see some live reactions from 49er fans and Cowboy fans, everybody. If you want to tap into the episode, let me know so I can already have you tapped in, and people can see your reactions during the game. It's gonna be something that you ain't never seen before. It's gonna be dope. Dondo Show, I'm about to sign off, man. Y'all take care, okay?